Questions for reflection. Our first reading from the book of Daniel tells how Daniel and others came into the service of the Chaldean king Nebuchadnezzar. Once captive in the king's court, Daniel and his companions begged to be excused from eating unclean food. Instead of accepting the food and wine, which was surely a temptation, Daniel ate vegetables and drank only water out of dedication to the Lord. The Lord honored them for their fidelity and gave them extraordinary gifts of wisdom. The Lord gave Daniel a prophetic gift, the ability to interpret visions and dreams. He also gave them the favor of the king. All of this was a part of a greater plan of the Lord. As Christians, there's practically no food that's off limits, but that does not mean we should not be on our guard over what we put into our bodies and our minds. Today, we're offered a steady diet of drugs, alcohol, and other substances which can cause harm. Women are encouraged to consume contraceptives and abortifacients. Our minds are tempted with all kinds of unclean things offered to us on television, on the internet, and even in public places. We must cultivate wisdom and see these things as David saw the food offered by Nebuchadnezzar. We must recognize what is unclean around us, and even when everyone else is consuming what is unclean, we must refrain. Finally, we should ask for the gifts of the Holy Spirit so that we can be used by the Lord to further His plan in this hour. He will hear us. Our responsorial psalm for today is not from the book of Psalms, but from the book of Daniel. And it's a simple hymn of continuous praise for God, offered by the 3 Hebrew young men who were thrown into the fiery furnace by King Nebuchadnezzar. They were spared miraculously and used by the Lord to transform the entire plight of the Jewish people under the king. Praise is powerful. Let us take time today to give God thanks and praise. Let us extol His name forever. We serve the same God they did. Our gospel reading from the Gospel of St. Luke tells the story of the widow's mite. Now, in the story, people are giving what they can spare to the temple treasury. Next, we see one woman. She gives all she has, just 2 small coins. What's important here is not the size of the gift, but the kind of giving that's taking place. When we are tempted to give just a portion of what we have to the Lord, here is a woman giving all that she has. It's important to maintain a clear understanding of the goods of the earth and the gifts of talents and riches bestowed upon us. Nothing we have is truly ours. We cannot take anything with us after we pass from this life, not even our most carefully cultivated talents. Everything we have belongs to the Lord. These gifts are entrusted to us as stewards, and we are to use them as God intends, which is to serve Him. How many of us give to God merely our spare time, rather than making our whole day about Him? How many of us keep weeks, even months of time to ourselves, and give only the barest minimum back to God? To be as the widow, we do not have to give everything to the church or live in poverty. We need a change of heart, a conversion. We need to pray and follow the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Let's use the gifts we've been given to lead faithful, dedicated lives of prayer and faith, reserving nothing for ourselves, but giving all we are and all we have back to God. It all came from Him in the first place. It's all a gift.